This is the beginning of a pre-revolutionary moment. People came here so that they could give their children better than they received. We are denying them their rightful heritage, that they would inherit a better America with more opportunity. Instead, we are devouring their future. But my party has become a corrupt party, and that is because it has essentially been hijacked. But it is a party that has lost its soul, and nothing gets done for the people. Nothing. And it is because they can take your vote for granted. And they have taken this country to the brink of disaster, and the American people know it. Whose country is this? Who governs America? Whose America does this belong to? Faced with decline, the American people will do whatever is necessary to restore what is the exceptionalism in this country. In Washington, this isn't a battle between Democrats and Republicans or liberals and conservatives. It is a battle between the American people and the political class. Problem with power is power corrupts, and people who stay become corrupt. And these people are in business together. That's the fraud. You can see it right in front of you. So the first thing is we need real Americans to come and do what we had when we had citizen politics. People came to government to serve and go home. That's the elite in this country. In the hands of these people, the spirit, the power of democracy is dead. Let me just get right to this. I think we're at the most dangerous time in our political history in terms of the balance of power and the role that the media plays and whether or not we maintain a free democracy. The press's job is to stand on the ramparts and protect the liberty and freedom of all of us from a government and from organized governmental power. Now, too many political people in this town want to maintain their relationships with the press. I mean, these are serious matters, but they are, in Washington, they're playful, and the press does not pursue any of them. No stranger gives you $100,000 and doesn't expect something in return, unless you live in a world that I don't. It is one thing to bias the news or have a biased view. It is another thing to specifically decide that you will not tell the American people information they have a right to know. Some of it is incompetence, some of it is they just don't really know how to handle it, and some of it is on purpose. 60% of the American people are in on the secret here. I mean, they're no idiots. And the country doesn't have the confidence in the press that they once had. And once you go down this road and say that's happening, then people say, why do we need a First Amendment? Why should we protect them? They're not protecting us. That's the threat here. They have then made themselves a fundamental threat to the democracy, and this is the danger. What truth you may know as an American and what truth you are not allowed to know. This should be stopped. I wouldn't let one of these guys by with anything, and I would change the dialogue here. I would be telling the American people they're not trying to stop me, they're trying to stop you. We crossed a whole new and frightening slide on the slippery slope, and it needs to be talked about. And it is a threat to the very future of this country if we allow this stuff to go on. And whatever its faults, we desperately need a real free press that protects the people. I mean, really. You get what you ask for. America is in a state of decline. The American people do not believe they rule, and they do not believe that they are heard. We have the greatest crisis in American foreign policy. This is America. This country is not going to go gently in that good night of decline. But we have now what we have basically a one-party system, and it's got wings, and we have the corruption party and the stupid party. I've always been an American exceptionalist first. You know, I don't check my voter registration card to figure out which of my principles I'm allowed to believe today or not. I came from a different kind of politics, where the country comes first, where Democrats and Republicans understood that, where people could relate to each other, and even when they disagreed, they could not only be friends, but fellow patriots. And we don't have any of that anymore. And what we have is a system and candidates and people in politics whose narcissism and personal ambition needs are so great. I think the political class in Washington, including the establishment media, and the lobbying, consultant corruption, and what's going on in this Capitol is an insult to the basic foundation and formulation of America. I like to say about the Democratic Party that I belong to a party of memory. Well, what's happened in the Democratic Party, in my opinion, is it has become the tool totally controlled by special interest groups. And, you know, I really hate hypocrisy. People who think they should fly around in private planes, but the rest of us should have to have bicycles. But
I'm tough on my own party because I care so much about it. It was my home, my father's home, my grandfather's home, my great-grandfather's home. So as I like to say, they can't kick me out.
The one word not allowed to be spoken in Washington is the word corruption. The reason we have freedom of the press was because their job, the implicit bargain of the First Amendment, is they would protect the people from power. Instead, they have deserted their implicit constitutional duty. It is a facade. This is a Potemkin village of democracy.
Look, Glenn, understand what's happening. In all my life, and I've been studying public opinion since I was 16 years old, and I've never seen anything, the level of anger, sustained anger, that exists in this country as it does now,
Pat,
against the government in Washington, both parties.
Because they're more in bed with these special interests than they are with the American people.
For the Congress, it's the line from Animal House. Have you no respect for yourself? The question here is the American people understand this. I've never seen a fear that exists that our future is disappearing. And I have a message for the people in Washington, in both parties. The American people are coming, and they're coming for you.
Okay, that's scary. I think people really feel that their republic is at the end. It's at the brink.
Is at stake. Democrats, Republicans, it has nothing to do with Americans feel that the future is slipping away for their children, that they're losing the future.
How come they don't see it? Or do they not care?
Well, they don't care. They don't think they have to. They think the American people are sheep that they can run over. And that's the issue that's going to get tested. They have nothing but contempt for the very people they are supposed to represent in the greatest nation on earth.
You know, the Benghazi, I've been on Benghazi since 2012. I mean, it's very clear to me what happened, and to a blind man. This was basically the greatest cover-up in American history. This notion, and this is what I object to among Democrats, we should sacrifice our own principles and our own beliefs of law in order to support something when a president who's decided to basically toss the law aside. The failure of the Republicans to go after the IRS. This IRS thing is a threat to every single American. You know what? I think the Constitution and the law comes first. I came from the era of Watergate. I was the youngest person on Richard Nixon's enemies list. I do not like government use of power on people. I do not like presidents who think they're above the law. I've watched the consultant class grow into essentially a Leviathan, hired to suppress, to clobber anybody who suggests there's something wrong. For the most part, they have the morality of stormtroopers. Whether good or bad, the Democratic Party, you have to suspend your philosophy to conduct the corruption they do. And their base essentially is now very wealthy, rich people who have never worked for a living, who think they're better than the common man. This party was recreated by Franklin Roosevelt as the party of ordinary, average, and forgotten Americans. And the rhetoric is there, but not the delivery.
The political class, in my opinion, has to be displaced. This has to be turned upside down.
The appeal in the Democratic Party is generally to fear.
You cannot lead this country if you do not understand why it is so special. We put billions of dollars in cash in pallets. We took off secretly sanctions that were supposed to stop them. And what do you hear from the Republicans? Nothing. We are teaching a country that it is okay to fail.
I worry most of all that we are at a tipping point, that we have an American population, electorate in the country, which looks at what they believe has been their disestablishment of their sovereignty as the rulers of this country, and that the people aren't in control. That is, you know, if you read the Declaration of Independence, if that's what they believe, according to Thomas Jefferson, they have a right to take strong action against their government. The notion that everything is fine here reminds me of Vienna in 1914, on the cusp of the World War I. You know, everything looks great in the capital, and about 20 miles outside is total anarchy. And I am tired of people who think that their personal ambition overrides everything. I've got a president who literally is living in some fairy tale world in which he's making disastrous decisions, doing things that directly harm the United States. I have a Secretary of State who is, I mean, the whole thing, as I've described, is a ship of fools. You know, at some point, foreign policy does enter the water's edge, and at some point, you have to stand up for the country. And my question is, who will go tell this president what time of day it is? My hope is in the American people. They know what's going on. They see it. You think the country is in decline? 60% of you do. You think your children will not be given what you were given? And 3/4 of Americans believe that. And the third, and when a majority of Americans believe you work hard and play by the rules, you can't get ahead, which is the death of the American dream. This has got to change, and the American people have to save this country. What we need are leaders who will appeal to them, not people to their own ambition.
The inability to admit you missed something or you're wrong about something. The problem for the political class and the media is it requires coming to grips with the legitimate dissent of the American people. But they don't want to look at that. I don't think they're going to let up on Trump. They smell blood. If you don't think the courts are political, you live in an alternate universe. That is one of the issues. Gosh, it's just shocking how easily some people characterize things and do things whether they're truthful or not. It is a question of whether or not judges are in a position where they should make interpretations outside the law. It's a little chilling. They're at war with an entire political class. The White House sometimes looks like Fort Apache under attack. There is no place for ordinary people or even sophisticated people to go to find out what the hell the truth is. This politics has been reduced to tribal warfare, and tribal warfare will bring this country down.
Patrick H. Caddell, he was a Politico, he was a pollster, he helped Jimmy Carter get into the White House. I remember he told me the story about how everyone was saying that there was no chance for Trump, and he was a data guy. He was a high-level pattern recognition guy. If you think I can recognize patterns, I learned from, he was a mentor of mine. He was a dear friend. And I remember he told me that he was looking, this is 2016, and he was looking at the data, and he called it, and he called Trump, who was his friend, and while Pat was a Democrat, he was able to be friends with Republicans as well, and he called Trump up and told him that he won. This is a story Pat told me, I assume it's true. He was a great storyteller, but he told the truth, and Trump didn't believe him, is what he told me. So yeah, he said, you won, this is yours, and Trump didn't believe that he won. So that was 2016, and these clips, Pat commissioned me. He asked me to make this demo for him based on hours and hours and hours of clips that he gave me from interviews, from speeches, and we were cutting this up this demo to create this pitch that he wanted to do. As you could see, what it all wrapped up in, it wasn't just against Democrats, it wasn't against Republicans, it was about everything, the whole system, which I loved about him. He could see the whole thing. He could see the people, he could see the politics, he could see the media, and he could see where they connected, where they didn't. He passed away in 2019, before even a lot of the COVID stuff happened, before the freedom of press, really, we could see the results. This was clips from 2015, 2016, and we created this demo in 2017. And what he really wanted to do with this, as you could see, as it was wrapped around it, he wanted to make this a launching point. He was writing a book and pitching that, as well as creating a media company. He saw that the freedom of the press was being corrupted by a media that was holding truth, that was telling you lies, that was deciding what you could or couldn't know. I mean, obviously he said it a lot better. So that's what this demo was. And the special thing about him was that I could remember we would be sitting there and he would have to take a quick call from Trump. Like, this is a hardcore Democrat who loved his country and loved the Democratic Party, as you can see, but he was friends with Trump, and he would yell about him when he wanted to discuss things, because you can be friends and friendly with the human, because as humans they connected and think the politics or certain things are off, and actually call them out for those things as well, and still be friends. And I don't know that how we lost that ability, but he really was the person that taught me how to do something like that. I'm not going to put words into his mouth. I don't know where. I have ideas about what he would think right now, about the world, where he would be politically. I have some ideas, but he believed in the American people. He believed in the system, the American system, but the part of the system he believed in the most was the people that could rise up and make these changes through the system, through the right ways. And as you listen, please, like, just even listen back after hearing this. I didn't want to, people click out really quickly, and I didn't want to start talking and have people miss what he said, because he's the speaker. And I only made this channel, this is a personal channel, I only made it a few months ago. At the end of 2025 is when I started posting. I've had this sitting here since he passed away. And I know he had connections. He had a big platform. He had a mission and a goal. But he had a message for the American people. He had a prophetic message back then. If you look at it now, he was warning us, and we had a chance. And we blew it. But we still have a chance. We have a chance. And I'm seeing things turn around, but what's really important is this freedom of the press thing that he was saying. We are now more siloed than we've ever been, even before, when he was, even in the days where you talk about getting suppressed or this or that over, 2020 and all of those. We are more siloed than ever in a way that is least able to be regulated and help us. We have so much information in the world, but no one can access it. We can't even reach our own audiences anymore. We can't trust YouTube to deliver anything to anybody. Its algorithm just works on trends. It literally has like 3 discovery slots that go to 3 of the main people, and if that's who everyone's clicking because that's who they're showing, then that's who the algorithm's going to keep showing. And it's killing even mid-sized channels. It is killing any information sharing. It's killing any creativity. And this is not just YouTube. It is all of our free press. It is all of our social media where we think we have control. We're not having control. This is a message from Pat. In 2017 is when he approved this message. It wasn't fully finished, as you can see. There's still some rough edges, because this was just for the pitch so that we could start developing this company and get investors. But this is what he wanted to tell people, and it is still so relevant today. Look at it from both angles of what he was saying, where we were then, to, oh my goodness, this is 10 years later, what it has become. He wasn't lying. He wasn't misreading. He was recognizing a pattern, and a pattern that we need to recognize, a pattern that we need to figure out as a group. We need to stop allowing ourselves to be siloed. We need to stop participating in that stuff. If you're a creator and you see, because YouTube is killing long form, it's killing the ability to make money off of that, then stop making shorts. Just stop it. It doesn't make you money anyways. Just stop it. Don't do shorts on YouTube. Don't consume shorts on YouTube. If that's what you want, then consume shorts. And you have to be intentional about the consumerism, about what you are consuming. You have to be intentional as a creator about how you are creating. This is a time when we have to sacrifice making money, making the bank. We have to sacrifice the bag for the people who actually can, who have this is not my main job, so I'm, not probably going to make money off of any of this, because the algorithm doesn't like what I have to say, and it's not trending. But I'm not going to stop. It keeps telling me, I need a bigger hook, I need a bigger thumbnail, and it's like, I cannot become like that. I have no desire to be like that. I have no desire to have my brain and creativity and individuality cut off in that way just to make money. And if you are a creator that can do that, then stop participating in that stuff. Just stop it. you're the problem too. This is no longer a neutral thing. This is about the freedom of information and the inability for anyone on the internet to share it, and no one is talking about it. No one is talking about the fact that even the major $1 million channels are losing half their views. The algorithm has broken any bit of communication we have with our own audiences. So we need to take them off of these platforms. We need to fight these platforms. If you want to use this platform, then use it the way that you need it to be used, so that they will have to change what they're doing. Because as you can see, when people actually make maybe harder choices, maybe you have to sacrifice, the gamers, this is what they're doing right now. They have to sacrifice things because they want their gaming system back, right? So they're going to have to make hard choices, maybe not even play games that they like, maybe even have to invest in outlier companies that will not silo their information, that will give them digital copies and physical copies, that will not say that, oh, you bought this in 2015 and we're now going to wipe it. No, that is not their right. You purchased that. You purchased it. Maybe it's their right to delete data, because honestly, how much space do you have? Okay, then figure out a way to get that data off if you really want to save it. But these are the things that we have to start. I don't know enough about gaming. There are gamers that need to fix that too. This is happening everywhere. We are under attack. Our information, our freedom of consumerism is under attack. And just like Pat said, if we don't stop it here, then it's just going to get over there. And we didn't stop it in 2016. And you saw what happened in 2020. You saw what happened in 2021 and 2022. It's just now starting to be open, and the algorithm has found a way for the elite people, for the people who want to have all the reins, who want to tell you what truth you may know and what truth you are not allowed to know. Those people are choosing to use this algorithm and legally now, because they don't have restrictions, restrict what you are allowed to hear, what you are allowed to know, what you are allowed to consume, what you are allowed to enjoy. Oh, you want to search this exact phrase? Well, we don't really care. We think that you want to see this one, this $1 million view of a Mr. Beast, whatever, and no, I don't. I never ever YouTube want to watch Mr. Beast. I'm not the audience. There's many people who do. That is not my audience. And also, my audience is not going to the people who like Mr. Beast. That's just not how it's going to be. And we have to figure out a way, and I don't have all the answers. This is just me rising up because my friend passed away and he could have done this. He could have made some changes. My channel is a tiny channel, but if we can spread these messages, these people have to listen. There is money involved in this, so stop giving them the money, stop giving them that power. And this is in all the areas, but I'm saying the thing that we really as people have power of is the vote and consumerism. Learn the Constitution, people. Don't just go out there and do crazy rioting. Learn what you are fighting for, so that when you have a talking point, when they put the mic on you, you're not just saying the narrative that someone has trained you to say. You need to use your own words, because you're not getting through to each side. We're not getting through to each other. So learn different words so that you can express what you truly believe to the other side in a way that can make a change. You cannot force people to change. You cannot do it. You cannot force people to accept ideologies. You cannot force people to like you. You just can't force this. Hollywood tries to do all the time. They try to do it with Zendaya. Nothing's wrong with Zendaya, but no one really likes her as much as Hollywood thinks. She's not great at acting. I'm going to be perfectly honest. She's a very one-note actress. Better than me, but I'm not out there acting. And I'm not the one that Hollywood is pretending that everyone loves. Zendaya doesn't have as big of a following as the movie industry would tell you that she has. These are the things that we have to fight against. Stop letting them tell us who we like. Just like who you like. Stop following the trends. Stop doing that. It's just this trend environment is... You're not seeing it, and we have to see it. This trend environment is snowballing. Trends don't actually break away into smaller, just a lot of different creative, new, unique individual trends. No, they snowball into one trend. And that's how information is getting snowballed. We are getting snowballed on the Republican side, on the Democratic side, on liberal, on whatever. We are getting siloed into these spaces more so than ever before, and no one is talking about it because we do not have access to any information anymore. We are being told what information we have access to, and we're being treated like we have all the access, but we don't. And we need to smarten up, and we need to start doing our research. We need to know, this is why I talk about AI. This is why I talk about Hollywood. You think I go all random. The algorithm hates me because it can't figure out what I talk about. I'm talking about social patterns everywhere, and the exact same social pattern everywhere. If you watch any of my videos, they all connect to the same thing. We need to be responsible. We need to be accountable. We need to make intentional decisions that may be hard. We need to sacrifice. It may be hard, but that's how we make things better. That is how we make it better. I got very emotional in all of this, but you know, I was sitting here with this clip, this 12-minute demo that is unfinished, and I just didn't want to wait another 6 years for Pat's message to get out there. I don't know how else to release it, but I have a channel, so here we are. And share it if you like the message. No matter what you are, as you can tell, Pat wanted to make a change to the way that media was going. And we didn't. And I mean, we've tried. And you saw YouTube, there was a golden age for a minute before the algorithm, before AI, before they found a way to what is that thing when you're lassoing? To re-lasso us back in, right? To wrangle us back in. But here we are. We've been wrangled back in. We need to step up and say the truth, and we need to make better decisions that actually will make changes, because the companies want money. And you look at ChatGPT, they're losing. They have not made a profit. They are going down, and unless we call it out, they could figure out a way to manipulate something to get more investments and to keep losing money, but keep going. We have thrown billions of dollars into AI slop just to find out that we cannot add more information and make this version of AI better. It literally can't happen. It actually gets worse the more information, because that's what they thought. Just get more. Bigger data centers, bigger things, and now they've realized, bigger isn't actually better. It's actually making our system worse. The more information we're throwing in it, the worse it's getting. The other day, Claude, because I use all of them, Claude actually, they said groveling, and it was using the word groveling in a sentence, and it actually wrote GRO.Veline. And I was like, how did this even happen? How did you not even finish a word? Like, this system is breaking. It's a bad LLM system that cannot work as far as wisdom goes. It's a pattern recognition system that doesn't even recognize patterns consistently or accurately every time. Useful in a lot of ways, but as a writing system, as a creative system, it is not able to do any of those well at all. It can't create anything. It just reiterates. It's a poor iterations, reiterations of crappy information in general that is given in the first place. And if you look at the time when AI was really being trained, look at all the siloing that was happening, the suppression, the views that were allowed to be known and not allowed to be known on both sides. That's what we were training AI with. So now, if you talk to it, you're seeing these remnants of these oppressive views of these racist systems telling you that you can only say bad things about white men. It's crazy. So we're now working with systems that have been trained for a decade on data that is completely biased against all groups practically, but basically against one major group. And that's just who was in power. That was at the time. And, you know, tables have turned, and so we're opening the doors, but it's important not to suppress either side. We cannot continue to go the pendulum back and forth. So when you see a different group in charge, we need to hold everyone accountable to not suppress anybody. And that's just the way it has to be. We have to hold rights for everyone to say things even when we don't agree with them. I didn't know if I could get through this. I tried to make this video a few times over the weekend and I kept crying. And it's hard to talk about Pat as objectively, which is what I'm trying to share. But he was intelligent, he was kind, he was supportive. He has harsh words in this. He's very straightforward, but this is a man who, I was completely alone. I was in New York. I had nobody, and my father had died a year or so prior, and I was all alone. My family was completely across the country. I was trying to do the freelance contract work, so the small jobs I did have were enough to pay the rent, but not enough to qualify for an apartment. If you know anything about New York, you have to have like 40 times the rent. And so even for like a tiny place, I could not be qualified. I didn't know what I was going to do. I couldn't even afford enough. Like, it was rent or like figuring out how to pack up and move. Like, I couldn't do both. And Pat came in because I had met him and we were friends, and he helped me. He actually co-signed a lease for me. This is the guy, like, he lived in South Carolina, and he's just such a good person who would just, this random girl he met on Sirius XM doing interviews, we became friends, and he supported me. I would write just silly TV shows and things for fun, and he was like he would always ask for new episodes, and he would encourage that, and I mean, I haven't even written a new episode since he passed. He was just really supportive, and he believed in me, and he believed in our country. That's why I want to tell you these stories. He didn't have to help me at all. He specifically was supportive. I don't know anyone that he didn't support if they needed help. He would have supported anyone, and he was just such a good heart. And so I really hope that you take what he says, understanding his heart. He loved the Democratic Party. He loved the Democrats. I wouldn't consider myself a Democrat, so that's why I want to be clear. He loved his party, he was hard on his party. What I say now on my channel does not reflect him, as you know, like, I'm not saying anything in what he would say. This thing that I played is the last message that he had for the American people, and that's why I wanted to share it. So I know this was really long, and I'll probably cut it down a lot to get rid of just all the stupid part of me, but Pat prophetically understood, and so here we are. So maybe you can share it if you feel compelled to, and really the most important part is to make a difference, to start making changes.
Let's go.